I'm not sure LinkedIn has a slogan, so I've been working on one for them. Here's what I have so far. LinkedIn. Do you hate yourself? Well, you can. Hey, it's Nicole. Welcome to me talking nonstop at you and you not being able to say a thing. We have a great time. I actually joined LinkedIn before it was cool, when I was 12 years old. You might ask, why? Isn't LinkedIn a career website where you put your resume online and search for jobs? Some people accomplish a lot by 6th grade. And by some people, I mean people who are not me. Ever since I single-handedly discovered LinkedIn, this site has grown to over 1 billion members. It was supposed to be a place to manage your professional identity, build your network, and find jobs. And what it actually does is combine the boundaryless oversharing and lack of self-awareness of Facebook with the unhinged self-promotion and showboating of the business world. When I find myself doom-scrolling LinkedIn like other social media, that's how I know I'm unwell. I would call myself an early adopter of LinkedIn, and now I'm a hater. How did this happen? Strap in. LinkedIn is worldwide, though there's a good chunk of Americans looking to network, brand themselves, and find jobs. Let's start with networking, or interacting with people to develop professional and social contacts. The home feed is a good place to see it in the wild. You see content from your connections, otherwise known as friends, in other places, and you see content that they interacted with. And sometimes you cite the notorious LinkedIn influencer. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, as people started posting less and less to other social media platforms, many people who had really deep shower thoughts and no audience to hear them flocked to the new frontier of LinkedIn. Here, the settlers developed their own culture of content. In this essay, the first type of content is what I call thought leadership cringe. LinkedIn has so many self-proclaimed thought leaders who supposedly share innovative ideas and insights to inspire the community. You can sometimes identify LinkedIn thought leadership cringe through the classic writing formula, which someone dubbed broetry. Each sentence of the broem is followed by a line break, so you click that see more button. It's usually a clickbait opener, followed by a virtue signaling anecdote that definitely happened, and then finished off with a cliche or a hashtag. Josh Fector was one of the pioneers of broetry, and by gaming the algorithm, he grew to over 70,000 followers. And then he got banned as he was basically hacking the platform. And because of him, LinkedIn actually changed their algorithm to try to prioritize content that's more helpful to job seekers instead of self-congratulatory rants. So you'll see less outright broetry in the wild, post-population control. But thought leadership cringe cannot die. It just evolves. People continue to post fake stories or non-controversial statements like, we should pay people. Thoughts? And tenuous business takeaways because they don't get called out as much as they should be. The people who have the awareness to recognize cringe don't want to risk being seen writing anything negative on a professional site. A dramatic reading. Today marks day 1 of homelessness for me. How am I going to afford it? By renting out my house to cover Airbnbs. The Human Centipede was a 2009 shock horror film about a German surgeon who got bored of separating conjoined twins and wanted to create them instead. Here are 5 things the film taught me about product management. Okay, I really like this one. It's a joke, right? It's a joke. It's a joke, right? Thought leaders are supposed to be experts in their field or topic, and I think more of us should identify as thought followers. Once I get over whatever childhood wound is compelling me to stay on YouTube, I will not be wishing my thoughts on anyone, because that is the responsible thing to do. The next post, the weirdly personal overshare, can overlap with thought leadership cringe. The overshare is where people who reject the fakeness of LinkedIn worksonas overcorrect, trying to make the platform more human. The most famous example is a man who posted about his divorce, and then an Instagram meme account mocked that post, after which that LinkedIn poster challenged the meme account to a fight. As you do. There's the out-of-touch CEO who posted a crying selfie after his company laid off a bunch of people. Another example is a guy who wrote about his shy bladder syndrome that caused him to be unable to pee in public restrooms. Or the guy who wrote about his addiction to corn. Yes, posting about it is brave and vulnerable and intended to make people feel less alone, but it speaks to the blurring of the personal-professional boundary. To me, it's situational. I appreciate vulnerability, but I do feel like you can be authentic and not have to put 100% of yourself on the table. I don't think the professional world really deserves too much of our true selves. This goldmine of content created a reactionary trend of LinkedIn shitposts that make fun of the cringe. One of Jack Rain's greatest hits was a money hack to earn $100,000 by getting 1,000 vaccine shots in 16 days. Alexander Cohen rose to the shitpost Hall of Fame through his life hack post about cooking butter garlic chicken in a hotel coffee machine. There's still just subtler ways to advance the shitposters' personal brands, but I don't really care since they're funny. Quick note, not everyone who is trying to make money off LinkedIn is cringy. Some people are directly offering something of value and collecting people who are interested, which is fine. What I'm shocked to see is how, to increase their post engagement, they'll just ask people to comment their emails and people will give it to them. Like, your email is now public for anyone to read. Why are you doing this? I'm also constantly seeing announcement posts. These usually start with, "I'm so honored," or "thrilled," or "humbled to," and include a crazy range of career events: starting a new job, 1 week on the job, 6 months with a company, moving to a new state, celebrating anniversaries, buying a house, attending a gender reveal, having explosive diarrhea. Everything is a huge announcement, even how much people are working. The hustle culture and productivity grind permeates LinkedIn content, and it's exhausting. On LinkedIn, everyone dances to impress hiring managers. Another flavor of content is thanking companies after they've laid you off with no notice. I understand why people make those posts. I just wish they didn't feel the need to do that. Most jobs are filled through networking, so these people are putting a positive spin on their bad situation to get on the radar of future companies and opportunities. Expressing gratitude for what they learned in their time there probably helps mentally. But seeing post after post of people signaling positivity, especially when I personally knew them and knew they were mistreated and or not given the slightest courtesy by companies who did not care at all about them, feels awful to see. In terms of content, there's also this newish feature called collaborative articles, where LinkedIn invites people to contribute to a single article, which seems familiar. People will comment their answers to a question, and then the community votes on the best contributions. You get a top voice badge out of it and more visibility, and in return, you receive the honor of helping their AI grow stronger day by day. The idea is good, even if the articles themselves are AI generic sprinkled with contributor comments, but my issue was, why are you asking me? Calling me an expert in my field every week to give my 5 cents on topics I frequently know nothing about? Not to gatekeep expertise, but I'm gatekeeping expertise. I feel like people who actually know their stuff are given equal footing to people who aren't subject matter experts, but love to share their opinion as much as possible to get that badge. And speaking of exaggerating what you're capable of, let's cover LinkedIn profiles. Your profile is an online resume. Most US workers say they have lied on a resume to get a job, and some say they lie frequently. I mean, the line is blurry, right? We've all seen the jokes where people rephrase their jobs to make them flashier, like dishwasher becoming underwater ceramics technician, but it's understood that people summarize their work in the most impressive sounding, even if misleading way. This isn't anything new, but now you can see other people's resumes and you have no idea how much they're falsified. You can also see who viewed your profile, which is a setting I immediately disabled so that others couldn't see me viewing them, because it's really none of my business to know who's stalking me. I'd rather be nosy in peace. If I must know, I'll just match the blurred profile picture to the user like a civilized person. It's not like there's a point in knowing if a recruiter looks at you if they choose not to contact you. You can also just add whatever skills you want and no one will stop you. Some people go in and endorse you in hopes that you'll do it back. So this section, along with the practice of putting 5 different non-titles in your bio or spam adding strangers until you reach thousands of connections, just highlights how LinkedIn is a 1 billion strong circle jerk. I have technically gotten jobs off LinkedIn, but I would say that I got those jobs in spite of it. I found them on LinkedIn, but then I clicked out to their company website to apply, and that was that. It's more that people have to post and find jobs on LinkedIn now because that's where everyone is. When you're applying, a lot of applications will even ask for your LinkedIn. I have been, shall we say, intimately acquainted with job searching. I once got laid off and was long-term unemployed, meaning unemployed over 6 months. My big brain approach was to strategically cold apply, strategically avoid networking, and strategically be sad all the time. Even finding jobs to apply to is a struggle because LinkedIn's search function is so terrible. People have actually developed a workaround where you search LinkedIn through Google. LinkedIn search results are flooded with sponsored jobs. Earlier, I scrolled through trying to find the part where the promotion stopped, and I got to page 11. And then I checked page 12, and there were more. It seems like every job is promoted, which would be fine if those jobs were relevant. A Redditor noticed the sponsored jobs tended to be the worst matches, and apparently logging out led to much better results. At first glance, the results are relevant, but if you're trying to get out 5 applications a day, the experience quickly deteriorates. Sometimes remote filters don't work. A keyword of data analyst intern might match to marketing intern or engineer intern. You might get 5 listings of the same job in multiple locations or jobs you already applied to 2 months ago. And apparently, at some point, if you hid too many irrelevant jobs, the hide button would just stop working because they set a limit to how many times you can make your search better. Granted, I'm less on LinkedIn now that I'm not actively job hunting, but I still see this sentiment online, so it seems like issues persist. It's not just the search. The job listings themselves are also a problem, which goes, frankly, beyond LinkedIn, but we're already here, so some companies are posting jobs they're not even planning to fill. According to hiring managers, 50% of them keep postings open because they're always open to new people. Reasons include wanting to have a bunch of people ready for when they do hire, projecting an image of company health, placating overworked employees, keeping current employees motivated, which is crazy. You'll see the same job being reposted over and over, and each time it's reposted, it becomes recent. There are jobs I saw nearly a year ago that are still open as of this video. Some of them aren't even real companies. Some of them are running scams to collect your personal information or pay for fake training courses or certifications. I once applied to a job and the hiring manager wrote back an encouraging personal note offering resume feedback, and it was a phishing scam. Job seekers, especially the unemployed trying to afford to live and get healthcare, are often in an emotionally vulnerable and desperate place, and it's so disgusting that there are people preying off of their situation. I don't ever assume a connection between someone's capabilities and their ability to get hired, because the job search and hiring process is so incredibly broken. You always hear the advice to spend time customizing your application to stand out, create a personal brand even if you don't want a role that would require it. Write personalized cover letters and resumes. Message the hiring manager. In a perfect world, it would make sense to invest that time, but when each job has hundreds of people applying due to counting each outclick as an application and you don't even know if the job is real, of course candidates are going to start spam applying. And that, in turn, causes companies who are actually hiring to put less care into the process as it's now more work to go through more candidates. Don't even get me started on the LinkedIn user experience. I'll get started on the LinkedIn user experience. In LinkedIn Messages, which will sometimes crash for me in the app, you can chat with your connections, send cold messages to strangers, or receive spam. Companies can place sponsored messages directly in your inbox. This ranges from LinkedIn pushing their paid features and universities asking if you want to go back to school to recruiters mass sending you job postings. I'm told that some people have success with recruiters reaching out to them, which I believe happens. Personally, I get recruiters calling me Elizabeth. Like any other social media, you get notifications. The default settings caused me to get notifications every hour, none of which I cared about. I got notified when my connections wrote meaningful comments on strangers' posts, like "congrats" or "love this." I got told how many searches I appeared in, which never led to anything. I got reminded of certain people's work anniversaries and always ones I never interacted with. I did sometimes learn from the news and work trends. It's possible you get what you put into the platform, and I'm just not active enough for LinkedIn to know what I'd be interested in, but ultimately I had to manually disable most of the notifications. I thought maybe the LinkedIn experience is so terrible because, hey, maybe they want you to upgrade. They need to make money. LinkedIn makes money a few different ways, letting companies advertise to LinkedIn users, helping people hire, selling their online course platform, and offering premium membership to individual users. There are different kinds of memberships, but my experience is as a job seeker, so while I hear that premium might actually be useful from the other side, I can only speak to the career offering. Premium members for $39.99 a month can get a badge, message non-connections 5 times a month, search with more filters, see who's viewing your profile, access LinkedIn Learning online courses, and get recommended jobs where you'd be a top applicant and see how you compare to others. I did their free trial for a month, and what I got for my $0 was the unlimited capacity to spam people. You get 5 credits for LinkedIn to ungatekeep people outside your network, and if they respond, you get a credit back. You can also pay for more credits. I sent custom messages to hiring managers who sometimes responded, but even if they did, nothing really came of it. And then my account got briefly restricted because LinkedIn thought I was a bot for trying too hard. LinkedIn, blurring the line between personal and professional, creates an environment that encourages toxic hustle culture, imposter syndrome, and the attachment of career accomplishments to self-worth. But the good news is that however hellish the LinkedIn experience is, it's not going anywhere. Wait, actually, the good news is that it's not really just a LinkedIn problem. Without LinkedIn, your mental health would just take a hit from a different platform. Wait, the good news is that we do have some agency. If you see an unhinged post, you can choose to respectfully push back in the comments, which I'm seeing more and more of, or you can just not engage. After all, LinkedIn has changed the algorithm in the past. Or you could also avoid the feed altogether and unfollow sources of terrible content. Because remember, you don't have to participate. You don't need to share anything you're uncomfortable with to fit in. A lot of people, including hiring managers, are LinkedIn lurkers and have different judgments of what's professional. So it might actually be safer to share less. I mean, what's worse than creating a crazy worksona just to get a job is getting the job who loves your crazy worksona, or getting posted to the LinkedIn Hall of Shame. Okay, class, it's time for the Goose Grade, where my giant goose rates whatever media or subject I have just discussed. Honk rates LinkedIn 1 out of 5 honks. You will not be taking any questions. Thank you. If you got anything out of this video, please watch another of my variety commentary, I guess is how I would now describe it. Nicole, she'll just say anything. Make sure to fight me in the comments if you so please, and that's it. Bye!